Evie here with me today for our Bookemon Readathon Week 2 wrap up. So I wanted to read like at least 3 books for Week 2, but I ended up only reading 2 books. A lot of people are reading like 5 books a week or like more than that, and I'm just like, how? Like, how are you doing that? But I've been playing Animal Crossing a lot and just like doing other things, so I'm happy that I even got through 2 books, but they were both pretty short, but it's fine, you know. I read a big one for week 1. So, okay, let's just get right into this wrap up. So the first book I finished was The Star-Touched Queen by Roshani Chokshi. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I went into this book kind of with not super high expectations, but a lot of hope because I really wanted to like it, and went in kind of, I guess, with high expectations, and I hadn't really read a lot of reviews for it before I went into it, and then as I started reading, I decided to check Goodreads and just kind of see like what people were saying. There were a lot of mixed reviews for this book, and then I kind of started realizing why. I want to apologize if you really love this book. I unfortunately had the hardest time getting into it. I think that's why I only finished 2 books for that week, because this one took me almost the whole week to read because I just had such a hard time getting into it, and it's only like 300 something pages. I feel horrible. I honestly cannot tell you what all happened in this book because I was confused and I just wasn't into it, and I had to finish it just because I wanted the CP for it and I really wanted to like it as I got into it more, but I just could not get into this book. I ended up giving it only 2 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. This story has Indian culture, which I thought was amazing. I love being able to read more about different cultures in books. It's really interesting how they interweave it into like a fantasy aspect, so I really like that part about it. There was also Greek mythology woven into it. It's a retelling of the Hades and Persephone story. I honestly did not like this book, and I love Greek mythology, and I really liked the Indian culture aspect to it. Basically, this girl, Maya, is cursed with a really horrible horoscope, and these people truly believe in this, that it like runs your future and like it's basically what your outcome is going to be. Basically, the horoscope is that if she gets married, it's just going to bring like death and destruction to her people. No one really wants her around just because of this really bad horoscope that once she gets married, you know, death is just going to come upon everyone. Dad, who like kind of rules everybody, he ends up telling her that she should just kill herself, and he gives her like a vial of poison, and she's kind of shocked by it but also not shocked just because no one has ever really shown her a lot of love just because of her horoscope. Comes to the day when she needs to pick her husband, and she kind of thinks she's going to run away or ends up just using the poison on herself. So Amar shows up, and he is the king of this place called Akaran, which is kind of part of this like other world in the story. Amar takes Maya to his kingdom so that they can be married and that she can be the queen. Akaran has its own dark secrets, and Amar is keeping a lot of secrets from her. There's a lot of weird mythical things happening in this kingdom, and she doesn't really like know what's going on, and she has these like visions, and basically, so there's like this thread, and if she pulls the thread, then it's going to make one decision, the other thread is going to have another decision, and both end up in destruction for her people. And so that's basically like how her horoscope plays out, is that like she goes to this other kingdom thinking she's going to be safe, but ends up having to make these really difficult choices that will end up ruining her relationship or ruining her people. And okay, so it goes back and forth a lot between like different visions, and like time is really strange in this place, and like years pass even though she like stays the same age because it's like a really magical like place. And yeah, that is my best explanation for what happens, like what this story follows. And like I said, it's a Hades and Persephone retelling. I think the hardest part for me was the writing. The writing style, it's lovely, like she's a great writer and it's very beautifully done, but I think it's too much. You know, books that are just too fluffy and there's just too much writing and like descriptions that get in the way of what's actually happening. That's like how she writes. It was just way too much. It went overboard, and I feel like I didn't even know what was happening in the story most of the time, and like the relationship between Amar and Maya, I really was not appreciative of. I thought it was too like insta-lovey, and I just didn't really understand why Maya felt this way for Amar when she barely even knew him. They like literally weren't even together that long, and she like ends up falling for him really hard, and like I did not really like that. I hate insta-love in YA. Like I hate that trope. And it wasn't that insta-lovey, but it was just too much for me because I like seeing the relationship build. I like seeing that grow. Obviously, it's a short book, so you can't like do too much, but I just hate, like, I think that's why I struggle so much with some like YA books. She just like went with this guy and immediately like had feelings for him, and I was not a fan of that. I was just not a fan of, yeah, definitely wasn't a fan of the writing style. There were too many descriptions that really took away from what was happening in the story, and I was honestly confused. I tried to really understand what was happening, but I just really struggled. I had a hard time getting into this book. I wasn't like a fan of it, and I feel really bad because I really did want to like this book. I really did. I went in really excited to read it, and I was so disappointed, and it was so hard for me to get through. Like, I could have finished this in just like probably a day. I don't know, I could have finished it really fast, and it took me like almost the whole week to actually get through it, and I'm really disappointed in myself for that. Yeah, I just was not a fan. I definitely won't be continuing with the series, and I feel bad for not liking it. I'm sorry if you guys really like this book. I really had a hard time following it, getting into it, because I wasn't a fan of the characters and just like what was happening, and I was very confused by like time and what was happening and when this was taking place, and like that I hate. Like I don't want to feel lost when I'm reading a book. I mean, I want to feel lost like in the world because I'm so into it, but not like confused, you know? So yeah, not a huge fan of this book, so I apologize. I did give it, 2 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Will not be continuing with the series, so yeah. So the second book that I finished that I really loved was Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Taylor Jenkins Reid also wrote The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and if you've been kind of seeing some of my videos, I do mention it a lot. I love The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Is it super well written? No. Is it kind of problematic? Yes. But is it super entertaining and thrilling and hard to put down? Yes. I love The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I love the mystery, the intrigue, the eloquence of the characters, the time period. Like, I love a good old Hollywood story, and that's just something I just love. Anything Hollywood is like, it draws me in. I love Hollywood, especially old Hollywood. Like, I just love learning about it. I love that time period and just everything that's happening, just like I don't know, I loved it so much. Okay, so this book did not disappoint me at all. I heard mixed things about it, that it was overhyped, just like Seven Husbands, but I really loved it, and her writing isn't anything special. Like, it's not, wow, that's amazing writing, like, it's so, but like, it's special in its own way. It's so hard to put down her books because the way she writes them, it's so fast-paced and so intriguing and interesting, and you just want to keep reading. I could not put this book down. I think I read like the first like 70 pages, and then I put it down to do other things, and then I picked it back up and finished it in one day. Like, I loved this book so much. So Daisy Jones and the Six, as the title says, follows this band called the Six, and then it also follows the girl named Daisy Jones, and how they come together and form Daisy Jones and the Six. This takes place in like 70s, 80s Hollywood and the music scene. What I love about The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is that it takes place in like the acting side of everything, because I love like that side of Hollywood, and this follows more of the music industry. And I'm not like, I mean, I love music, but it's not something that I've like dedicated following. Like, I'm more into like acting and film and that type of stuff, but I loved it. Words, Erica. I'm just so excited to talk about this book. Like I said, it follows the beginning of a band, and honestly, it's written so well. So I actually googled whether Daisy Jones and the Six was a real band, because at the beginning it's set up like the author's note, like, oh, I actually interviewed all these people, and then I'm like, wait, what? Like, no, this isn't real. And I googled it, and it's just the book, and it's like all fiction, but it feels so real. Like, she sets it up so it seems like these people and this experience is real, and it feels real when you're reading it. Like, I literally like kept googling. I'm like, this isn't like a real thing. You know, she does a lot of research and like other musicians, other rock groups that have been together in that time, and it really reminded me a lot of the movie Bohemian Rhapsody because of, you know, Freddie Mercury and Queen, and I love that movie so much. And this is basically the same, but in like book form and a different rock group, obviously, like a fictional rock group. There's a lot of drama, a lot of drug use, a lot of partying, a lot of, you know, that scene, of course, because that's the time period it takes place in. And it's very dark at times, of course. It faces very heavy topics, and definitely it's an adult novel. Having that maturity as you're reading it is, of course, really important, which I think most readers have, so, you know. It's written in interviews, which I really appreciated. Like, I really liked that. I really loved how like fast-paced it made it, and you just couldn't stop reading. Like, it was so good. And I love the characters. They're all super unique, and obviously like she does research and they can be based similar to other people at that time, but just like how distinct and different they all are, and their voices were all very different. I loved the uniqueness of each character, and just like those stories and their history, and it felt so real to me, and it was exciting. There were some really genuine moments in there, like when they're performing and when they're first like writing music, and it just felt like, I don't know, like there's even like songs in the back that you can actually like write to if you write music, and it was just so good, you guys. Like, I loved it. Like, it was so much fun to read. It's not like a happy, like, cutesy read at all. It's really dark and intriguing and just really gritty, and I loved this book so much, and I gave it, I think, 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. Don't really have any problems with it. I mean, the drug use is just kind of like overwhelming, but I know that's like the scene, like that's like the time period and all of that stuff, and definitely a book that can be sad at times. It's like an emotional roller coaster. You're feeling like their highs and their lows. It's just a really well done story, and I really enjoyed it. And yeah, so I'm glad I actually finally picked this book up and read it, and I didn't really let like negative comments kind of affect my reading. You know, I've heard a lot of people say, oh, it's overhyped, like it's not good, and I really wanted to read it for myself and enjoy it, and I did enjoy it. Like, I could barely put it down, and I really appreciated it, and I really can't wait till she writes another book, because I just love the way she writes, and I love how real her stories feel, because obviously it's based on a real time period, real experiences and things like that. So yeah, I love this book, and I'm really happy I finally picked it up for this readathon. Okay guys, those are the 2 books I read for week 2. I know, not a lot, but I'm currently reading, what book am I reading? Everything Leads to You. I really want to read the group book called A Memory called Empire, so hopefully I'll get to that one this week. If those are the only 2 books I read, then that's fine. So that is all I have for you guys today. If you like this video, be sure to give it a nice little thumbs up. If you want to keep following me on this booktube journey, please subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ErikaAGobble. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you soon with another video. Bye!